On Open, Darren Jaime here with you. Uniform Justice is a timely new play that tells the story of a city in which community members and police search for answers to the dilemma of vengeful violence but grow divided. Here now to tell us more is the writer and producer and the director, Chuk Obasi, and we welcome him. And for those who don't know a little bit about Chuk, he's also a social justice activist as well as an advocate, and he draws his experience through working as a senior trainer for the New York City Mayor's Office to combat domestic violence. He's a choreographer, writer, audience facilitator for Star Theater, and he's doing a big thing right now. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me here.
Good. So your play comes at a time when tensions are extremely high here, and it kind of resonates with what's going on right now.
Yeah, and the timing just worked out that way, to be honest. And in one sense, I'm glad it did. In another sense, it's unfortunate that this is the current climate of our country. The play premiered in March of 2014. And it was the result of a 9-month process where I spoke to police officers, I spoke to community members in Memphis, and I asked them about their relationships and threats that existed, what kinds of conversations they wanted to have with each other that they couldn't have. And those stories that were told, that inspired me to create what I created. And so when we have this 5-run premiere in March, I'm thinking, great, I'd love to bring it to New York sometime. Not too long after that, we have Eric Garner in Staten Island. Then we have Ferguson, and then we have so many other instances around the country. And it became very apparent that this conversation needed to really be kicked up a notch that I was already trying to have.
So when you hear this conversation, because you talked about the conversation of the community in Memphis, the community itself, and police department, two different voices. What was missing? What were both sides trying to say to each other?
I think what both sides were trying to say was that they were human beings. They were people who had feelings, who had fears, who had hopes for their futures that needed to be validated. And that tends to happen in a conflict. People are threatened by something and they want to protect that. But what's missing is, what is the other person protecting? And those kinds of conversations, they're very hard to have. And this is something that I've been studying for years. What is it that what is it that makes people think the way they think or process conflicts, how they process conflicts? And so that was what I was trying to get to the heart of.
And so for people who want to find out more about Uniform Justice, where's it playing? And
So I work for a theater company called TEA, which stands for Theater Engagement and Action, and that's a division of Intersections International. And now what we're doing is we've been producing stage readings of the play in different locations in the tri-state area. We've done a few here in New York. We've done at least one in New Jersey, up in Montclair. And at this stage, we are looking to put up more stage readings and to pretty much generate interest in the play and in the process around it. I do want to point out that Uniform Justice, the play, was part of a larger initiative that began with a training of the police department of Memphis. Everything I've just been talking about in regards to conflicts and how we view conflicts and how we process them, we had that same conversation with just the police department or just a division of the police department, because we wanted to equip them with the interpersonal skills to look at a crime as a conflict as well as just a crime. When I say that, when a police officer is responding to crime, in addition to just trying to secure a scene, get clues, make an arrest, make sure everyone feels safe, we also want officers out there who are able to understand what the conflict is that's happening, to understand what's happening when someone decides not to cooperate, or when someone decides they're going to take matters into their own hands, things like that. And so that was the beginning of this entire initiative, and then that became a play as well as a community equivalent to that training. And so we're constantly having that conversation with different organizations. That's what we're doing now. the final goal in our mind is to be able to replicate this initiative in other cities.
When you talk about getting the community to be able to speak, that's usually not a hard thing to do. We'll talk to people, but to get the police actually, to get their comments, to get their thoughts, to really go behind, how are you able to get that done? Because, you know, that's a yeoman's task, because to get police officers to really open up, unless you're a part of that, you know, unless you're a part of that group, sometimes they're not so ready to share.
That's true, and I wasn't one of the people that trained the police officers in Memphis, but from my understanding, there was a little bit of reservation. There was a little bit of apprehension in the very beginning of the process. But something that is that will always work is being authentic. You know, letting people know that we're not here with our own agenda. We weren't coming in there to say, we're accusing you of something, prove us wrong. We simply wanted to hear them on their own terms. So when you realize that we just want to hear you, we don't want to attack you, we don't want to judge you, I think people started to realize, okay, great, this is a platform to reveal who I am, because people don't really see who I am. And I think anybody can get on with that.
What do you think people are going to take away from Uniform Justice when they see it?
I think people are going to be inspired to continue this kind of dialogue that we're fostering between community and police. I think people are going to start to perhaps shift their way of thinking if they're already in a place of threat where they feel like it is a community, and law enforcement is part of that community. And so when any kind of conflict is a conflict that's affecting the entire community, the police and the residents.
Chuck, before we go, please tell people how they can find out more information about both Uniform Justice and the Retaliatory Violence Insight Project.
Oh, absolutely. So you can visit intersections.org, and when you visit intersections.org, you can just find the link to TEA, and we talk all about it there. Feel free to contact me, Obasi at intersections.org, and I'm happy to have that conversation.
Thank you so much, Chuck, for coming to share with us. Chuk Obasi here with us, and thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.